Uh, Hello, everybody. I'm just apologizing in advance. Um, the following video is a lore section finishing our little presentation on the history of the Shattered Kingdoms. Unfortunately, due to a mistake on my part, I have had to delete the introduction that we had originally done in the video, as it showed Madeline's full name. Just little stupid things like that end up causing like a whole 5-10 minutes of the video to get deleted. Well, I mean, it has to be deleted because we can't let that get out. Of course, once again, I'm doing this with Madeline, and we are going to talk about the history of the Shattered Kingdoms. I believe by the time that the main video starts, I cut it to the point where we were talking about how important Madeline is as the editor of the Shattered Kingdom videos and files, and that's the conversation that you're kind of going to end up in the middle of when the video starts. Sorry for the black screen. It should be ending soon, and I'm going to begin the video right now. Hope you like it. But if you could see the presentation, you'd see that it's pretty good quality. Most of that is Madeline. I just put the words on there, and then she fixes all the hundreds of errors I make.
That many. It's mostly just commas and not capitalizing a few things.
You'd think with a college education I'd do a bit better, but
you didn't have an English degree.
Yeah, I mean that is true, but I mean.
But then again, I didn't either.
That is true. Neither of us are English majors. Do you want to mention your YouTube channel? Maybe advertise that, or no? I know Jeremy wanted to start doing that for his on here, or at least.
I mean, you can go ahead and do his. I need to actually see it on that. I mean, it's a Nightmare Ninja Ruler. I just do tribute videos, character theme songs, that kind of stuff. You don't actually get to hear my voice or anything on it.
Well, you can check it out. I mean, it's worth having a look. I mean, it doesn't hurt to have a look. And,
I mean, there's people that like it.
Yeah, I mean, I had a brief look at it. I haven't looked at too many things on there. I've watched a few of your. Sorry.
I had followers, so there's people who like it. So.
Yeah.
Subscribers.
How many subscribers do you have on there, if you don't mind me asking?
I have to look. I'm not on my account. I was watching other YouTube videos. I got 226.
So considerably more than this channel has.
Well, it's been around a lot more.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, technically this channel has been around for a while. It's just that it hasn't been the Shattered Kingdoms podcast campaigns or campaign podcast, whatever I titled this.
We need to talk about the title of the channel.
The title will probably be reworked at some point in the future. So people going back to these way down the line, or if you're just watching this for the first time a lot later, they'll probably be like, what the heck are they talking about? Their name is so short and simple. It's great. What's wrong? Yeah, we currently have a long name that's just a mouthful right now.
You could just abbreviate it to SKC Podcast.
SK. Okay, yeah, I could do that. I might do that after this video goes up.
Right.
See if that hopefully that doesn't mess with anything. Shouldn't. I don't know. I don't really trust YouTube. Just paranoid.
Shouldn't trust You shouldn't trust any social media site, but why are you not trusting YouTube
I don't know.
specifically?
I don't know. I'm just paranoid. It has like
About
nothing to like do with YouTube, but I've had like recently I had like a save file, one of my games deleted, so I'm just like, I'm not sure I trust any technology right now. It's like, hey, what the hell happened here?
as a computer science major, that hurts my heart.
What?
Technology is technology is our friend in the right hands.
Yeah, want to fuck me over or
Well,
screw me
sure, that's
over?
just technology.
Yeah. Well, it's my technological ineptness that results in
Yeah.
technology screwing me over.
Yes, I'm not sure it's the technology that's the
Yeah.
problem.
Anyway, kind of off rails discussion aside, do we?
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
We were just talking about technological ineptitude.
Yeah, I mean that is kind of like off the rails, but
I just meant kind of. It
oh,
was really off the rails.
yeah. Well, why don't we get started? I believe we left off. I believe we just finished chapter 5 in the last video in our like history of the Shattered Kingdoms. So we're going to start this off with chapter 6. And for those of you who like didn't watch the first video or just need a reminder of how we're structuring this, I'm going to read through my slides on the chapter or for each chapter, and then we have a little discussion at the end where Madeline asks me a few questions and try and clear up anything that's unclear or needs to be explained a bit better, or if she just has some general questions about the lore. Anyway,
Try to prevent derailing and to not derail myself.
yeah, Madeline is also responsible for trying to prevent me from derailing this conversation. Because
I'm just as guilty at times, so.
yeah, I'm definitely the worst offender. Um, I'm just gonna say I'm the worst offender, and that's why the last video was so long. When we expected this whole presentation to only last like an hour or two. Now let's get started before I derail further. All right. All right. Well, chapter 6, Continental Civil War. This is basically picking up right after Tyrion, the Emperor, failed to take out Nolave, and the god Bahamut basically assembled like all the dragons and slaughtered most of the Imperial legions. And when this happens, the Empire is thrown completely in disarray. Not that it was really too. It wasn't really on good footing to begin with. I mean, they kind of had control over like the entire continent besides Nolave when they invaded, but there were people who opposed them throughout the continent. And now that most of their troops were dead, this was seen as the perfect opportunity for those who didn't like being under the Empire to rebel and throw out the Empire, which basically leads to open rebellion in about like half the continent. And really, there's only a few notable exceptions that don't like outright rebel against the Empire. Most notably, the capital, where Tyrion and his legions fled to. That doesn't revolt because most of the Imperial army is there. And then there's Barul, where there's a lot of Imperial soldiers. It's like a main training ground for the Imperial legions. And it has some of the most loyal citizens there is in the Empire next to the capital. Barul doesn't revolt either. But it just all starts going downhill at this point for the Empire. And their one besides Brule, they're one like big ally in the north, the Confederacy. Their alliance, the Confederacy, collapses. The king of the Confederacy dies. His daughter is put in charge because of her inheriting the throne. And this daughter tried to annul the proposed marriage between her and the Emperor Tyrion, which is kind of the basis for this whole alliance to try and solidify it. And with that gone, the alliance between the Confederacy and the Empire was basically null and void. Tyrion, of course, who was rapidly losing his grip over the continent, really couldn't allow this to happen. So he takes 10 full legions to the Confederacy, which at this point is the majority of his forces. He spreads his troops very thin doing this, and he puts most of the people of the Confederacy to the sword and kidnaps their queen. And he would then lock her in a dungeon until he could marry her, but that never actually happened, as she would eventually be found by Nalavian forces in the final battle of the war. Note that I say found and not rescued, because she kind of rescued herself. Isn't that right, Madeline? Because you know that story pretty well.
Yes, I rescued her. It was me who did that.
Yeah, because you got to play her as in the last campaign, because she was Tin's ancestor. Like, way down the line ancestor, but, you know. Anyway,
100 years, right?
it was, there's, I think it might have been more than 100 years. Maybe it's at least 100 years, maybe more. I know the time period between the last campaign and this campaign is 100 years. I think between the first campaign and the Imperial Civil War Empire being overthrown might be 100 to 200 years. So it's like, yeah, it's a few generations at least. It's
Okay, carry on.
what?
Said carry on,
Okay,
sorry.
that's fine. Anyway, yeah, Tyrion takes 10 full legions, kidnaps the queen, puts a lot of people to the sword, spreads his troops thin doing this, results in him losing land that he probably could have held anyway. And since he put most of the people to the sword, he retook the Confederacy, but there wasn't really much the Confederacy could do now for him, because most of its people were dead. And the Imperial legions during the Civil War, they fought well. And many of the legions are still loyal to Tyrion the Emperor. But millions of people on both sides were going to die in this conflict and battle. And as the war dragged on, the Empire was slowly lost ground to the rebels. Really, the only unifying purpose or goal behind the rebels is to overthrow the Empire. The rebels were from all different areas of the continent, all different like religions, beliefs, customs, whatever. They don't necessarily get along themselves, but all of them hate the Empire with a passion. And they hate the Empire considerably more than they hate anyone else. They all kind of work together to overthrow the Empire. And it's kind of the whole coalition of rebels is kind of held together by the Dragonborn King, who's kind of the de facto leader of the rebellion, since his kingdom was the first one who kind of stood up to the Empire and kind of like kicked their teeth in with the whole disaster for the Empire at Nolave. And As the war dragged on and the Imperials lost more and more lands and more irreplaceable legionaries, Tyrion began to realize if he wanted to win, he had to carry out desperate and drastic measures. As where the rebels were growing in number every day some of his legionaries would defect. He didn't have any such luxury. His troops were dwindling as the war went on. The legionaries, it would take years to fully train more legionaries. So he's starting to rely more on conscripts from loyal cities, which only makes matters worse. As once these fresh conscripts see what the Empire does, in some places just causes further desertions. The Empire at this point is really in dire straits and needs to do something drastic and desperate if they want to turn the tide. Oh, did I skip a slide, or is it just this went on too long? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
I just knew that that's what it was because I had gone through it before we
Yeah,
started.
I saw you going through everything and fixing the little mistakes.
Yeah. I originally just wanted to capitalize the Continental Civil War and the
Yeah.
last two wars
Yeah, I
were
saw that. I
capitalized.
saw you were correcting that, so I tried to do that myself as I saw that.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, then I just noticed some commas and stuff, so I just went through all of it to make sure it was
yeah.
all.
Alright, well, is there any questions you have about this chapter with the Civil War beginning and the Empire slowly losing ground? Half the Empire is an open revolt.
Questions?
Yeah,
Statements? Uh,
any of
I said
that?
not really.
What was that?
You good? I was talking and then you kept saying something
Oh,
and I
sorry.
didn't.
Sorry, I was just
You
for me you cut out there for a second, so I was like, what?
oh, that's because you were talking and I
Oh,
stopped
sorry.
talking.
You go
Yeah.
ahead, I'll shut up.
Okay. I said I don't have questions. I have statements.
Okay.
Um, it's terrible military planning if it takes that long to train your troops and you don't start training them before you start losing them.
Mm-hmm.
So he should have thought that out better. And he is creepy for trying to force the queen to marry him. Not a fan of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone's a fan of that, especially not the queen. For the training thing, I mean, he didn't think he was going to lose these many troops. Like, a lot of these casualties were inflicted by the god Bahamut intervening and laying waste to his legions in Olave. And I mean, he wasn't like he wasn't training legionnaires. It's just that he wasn't training them fast enough, as he was
Man,
losing troops faster than he originally anticipated would happen. So he's not as inept as he comes off in this, I guess.
he should have planned beforehand. He should have looked at every possible circumstance. He didn't think the god of the Dragonborn would step in to protect the Dragonborn.
Yeah, that is fair. He should have realized that, hey, the god of the Dragonborn would probably step in if I try to murder them all.
You know, like Mr. Goody Two Shoes Bahamut wouldn't
Yeah,
do something about it.
I think his thinking behind it was, I mean, the gods haven't done anything yet. The continent has been through a lot the last few years. A lot of people have died. There's been a lot of
Well,
upheaval.
it wasn't a genocide attempt yet.
Yeah, there wasn't that. His thinking was like, the gods haven't done anything to help anyone yet that I know of, so I don't see why they'd help the Dragonborn. And he was proved wrong. Obviously, Bahamut isn't going to let all of his followers be murdered.
On Tyrion's part, he was stupid.
Yeah, he was.
He should train his people faster.
To be fair, though, he was like 15 when all this happened.
Stupid. Where's his advisors?
Probably either dead or sycophant. What the hell? I don't know how to pronounce sycophants. People, yes men. I'm just gonna call them yes men. So I should say that. All of his advisors are probably just yes men. I mean, he is the Asamar of the Traveler, which is kind of like the official god of the Empire. So, who really has the what?
Sit still.
I mean, who has the like nerve to like tell the son of your god, "Hey, this plan seems stupid. We should do something else."
Well, I'm pretty sure a smart person wouldn't word it like that. But if he was a smart king, he would have advisors who are willing to tell him when he's making a mistake.
Yeah, I think he probably starts to. No, yeah, he should. I don't think he would. The reason
That's what
why
makes
I
him
don't,
stupid.
yeah,
Stupid king.
I think the main reason why he doesn't is because he grew up kind of in the era of where everyone wanted to be the emperor and people were backstabbing each other to try and become the emperor. So he's afraid if he has an advisor that he gives too much power to or allows someone else to kind of like guide the policy of the empire that he might have to worry about being overthrown from the inside. So I think he's making the active choice to not really have any good advisors or any powerful advisors just so he can make sure he's not overthrown. So
That makes him stupid king.
I know he's a stupid king. He's just paranoid, and that leads him to do a lot of stupid things.
Yeah, that's my point.
That's what happens when you grow up in an era where like everyone has no qualms about stabbing all their close friends in the back to gain more power. So I mean, if he's 15, he was sort of growing up in the I think I titled it the Shadow Wars, where everyone's trying to be the emperor. There's like 100 emperors in a few years span or something like that. I don't know. Did I?
Yeah, you call it Shadow Wars.
Yeah, Shadow Wars. Yeah, that. So he doesn't want to make things worse by like risking a internal power struggle. Which I mean, if he had someone who actually knew their shit, it'd probably go considerably better for the Empire. But I think at this point it's probably too late. Like half the Empire is revolting. And
that's why you should have done it before they were revolting.
Yeah. Like half the Empire is revolting. Every day more and more of his troops desert and join the rebels. This is not a good time for Tyrion or to be anyone who's loyal to Tyrion.
Stupid king mistakes.
Any other statements, comments, concerns, questions?
Tin's a better ruler.
Did you say Tin is a better ruler?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Tin actually cares for her people. She's done like some
for a future.
Yeah.
Future discussions in this.
Yeah, well, we can probably talk. We'll probably end up talking about Tin in some future podcast, so everyone will.
No, we talk about it later in this one.
Like Tin. Oh, yeah, right.
We have a whole chapter for the Troll Squad.
Yeah, we do have a whole chapter for the Troll Squad. I was just saying that eventually we'll probably talk more about Tin, because I imagine eventually we're probably going to have a video for each member of the Troll Squad. And we'll
Alright.
probably try to bring the player associated with each member of the troll squad. Have like some special guests.
Sure. Sounds good.
Alright. But yeah, I mean, Tana is a better ruler. She cares about her people. You she's been charitable. Doesn't she have like orphanages and stuff that she's open
Yeah,
for?
she's not necessarily the most moral ruler, but she's
Yeah, no,
good.
she's not the most moral, but I mean, it's not like she's doing anything particularly bad.
It's not like I'm Barul.
Yeah, yeah, that is fair. I mean, Brule's just authoritarian due to like how it was formed and its history. That doesn't
I just
excuse what it does. I'm just saying it has
yeah,
somewhat of an excuse to
I'll
explain it.
never forgive them for the
What?
it was in the side quest, right? Where they murdered a child.
Oh yeah, it was in one of the side quests they murdered it. The child was a terrorist that killed some of their troops.
He was a child who was raised in an extremist environment and could be raised to not be in such an environment if they had bothered to send him to like an orphanage.
That is true. I mean,
Instead, they murdered
if the
him.
commander there was smart, they might have tried that. But
Like, these
the
are impressionable
situation,
children. You
yeah,
could raise them to like your government.
yeah. I mean,
Stupid leaders.
yeah, the leader in that area of Barul is stupid. But to be fair to him,
Yeah.
he's had a lot of shit to go through. Uh, since the Kingdom of the White Flower was only recently annexed, and they've encountered so much trouble from that. Like, so much trouble.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we derail this completely, let's move on to the next chapter.
I told you I was just as guilty.
Eh, you just enable
Oh,
me.
well, I did ask a question and then
Yeah.
we went on. It was a statement about how stupid of a ruler Tyrion
Yeah, no.
was.
No, yeah, I'm still gonna go with you enable me. In my derailing. Anyway.
Yeah, you know,
Oh,
I
sorry.
just meant that my question is the one that led to this
Yeah.
for my statement.
Alright,
Yeah,
well, yeah. Chapter 7, The Shattering. Alright, so Tyrion's drastic measure would be to betray one of the races that was most loyal to him, the Drow. And the Drow, they were always kind of loyal to the Empire, especially to Tyrion, who allowed them to kind of enslave rebels that were captured and kind of let them continue some of their more frowned upon practices that were kind of not allowed in earlier periods of the Empire's history. So they like Tyrion because he's allowing them to act like themselves, basically. But now he's going to betray them because he's going to convince Lolth to do this magical ritual thing to split herself into these 10 shards that be given to 10 of her mortal children. And these shards would give these children immense power, as they basically had in these 10 shards the entirety of the power of Lolth. And like the 10 shards actually combined would have more power than Lolth combined, if that makes sense, even though it really doesn't. He would, once she did this, he basically convinced her to do this, saying, like, hey, when this is over, let's go kill all the elves and their gods. Like, I need your help, and in return, I'll do this for you, even though I personally don't have any reason to murder all well, when I say elves, I mean the not drow elves. Like, all the other elves. They all need to die. Pretty sure you'd like that. And I don't particularly need to do that, but I know you'd want that, so why don't I do that for you? You do this for me. You split yourself into 10 shards. I use these shards to destroy the rebellion. When it's all over, I have you reassembled and we kill all the elves. Deal? And it takes a little convincing, but eventually Lolth goes with it. And it was basically made on the understanding that when it was all over, he would reassemble Lolth and give her back to the Drow. And it was meant to be it was kind of meant to be a peaceful thing, although he would not really honor this, and he would send 100 legions, which was basically almost all of his army. And these aren't full-on legionaries anymore. Most of these guys are conscripts. And he sends all these guys into the Underdark to retrieve the shards. And basically, a legion has, I think it's somewhere between 1 and 10,000 men. So it's 1,000 to 10,000. So he's sending 1 million to 10 million people to take these shards. And, oh, well, it's 1,000 because it's 1 million. Ignore that. So of those 1 million men he sends down to the Underdark to get these shards, which I'm going to refer to as either shards or stones throughout this. They're basically shards of Lolth, but they're kind of in the shape of a stone. Doesn't matter. Just vocabulary. Anyway, of the 1,000,000 he sends, only 10 of them come back. They do manage to get the shards, though. But this wipes out almost all of his army, and it's generally seen as a total disaster to anyone who doesn't know exactly why the hell he's doing this. This causes further defections. The Imperial front line is basically totally collapsed at this point. And Tyrion and all this, she's like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna have Lolth reassembled. What the hell am I? A good guy? No, I'm the BBEG. Anyway, he basically decides, hey, I could really use this power. I could use it for good. So I am going to take all these stones and use them to basically harness the full power of a god on the mortal plane. And he believes that with such power, no one could really stop him. And since they're in these stones, kind of it's kind of a workaround to the if a god and all its power arrived in the mortal plane, it would basically destroy everything. This is a nice workaround for him, so he can use the power of a full god and basically kill everyone who doesn't follow him. And as he's kind of making the final preparations for this, most of his army's gone. He has maybe at most somewhere between 1 to 10 legions at this point, and he really only controls the capital. Maybe a few forts here and there, some holdouts. There's probably some people still loyal in Beruel, but they're on the other side of the continent, so they can't really help out too much. And as he's preparing final steps, the forces of Nalave are now sacking the last fort between their army and the Imperial capital, where they meet the Queen of the Confederacy. I have it written down that they're freeing the Queen of the Confederacy, which is not what happened. Queen of the Confederacy rescued herself. They just happened to, besieging the castle she was in at that time, and somewhat helped in her escape. 99% she rescued herself. They
She
held.
also freed all the other prisoners in there.
Yeah, she also freed all the other prisoners that were being held there. So, the queen of the Confederacy was kind of a bit of a badass, but I mean, she was Tin's ancestor, so it's to be expected.
I still can't get over child Xylod.
Yeah, that was great. I loved that idea when I came up with it. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't go into it too much because that would probably be spoilers, wouldn't it? Or would it?
It depends on how much you're planning on talking about the first campaign.
Okay. We'll probably end up trying to do like a summary of the first campaign and its lore. So I'm not gonna say anything more now. In case we do kind of go into the first campaign in all its glory and try to explain it to everyone. So just know that Xylon's one of the Troll Squad, the main heroes of the first campaign, and his ancestor during this was a small child.
I had to carry him because his stumpy legs couldn't run.
Yeah, it was perfect. Definitely one of my favorite sessions from that campaign.
Xylon was so angry.
Yep. By far, my favorite session from that campaign was where Nicus and Tin made the Tinnicus. I am pretty sure at some point we'll end up making a video on that. I want to make a video on that at some point.
A is for axes.
A is B is for
battle axe.
yeah, battle axe. Hold on, I have the let me just grab the actual Tinnicus.
O is for ow.
Yeah, I think it was ouch.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And Z is for zap with Eldritch Blast, where there's a drawing of Nicus zapping Tin disguised as a drow.
Rude.
Yeah. But yeah, it's basically a children's book that Nicus and Tin made that is just the alphabet, but with weapons and combat associated things with the letters.
Yep.
Alright. Derailing, done. For now. There will be more. Oh, sorry.
We're still talking about the campaign.
What?
Is it really derailing if we're still talking about the campaign?
No, I guess not. Because it is kind of... It's lore. I mean,
this is more spoilers.
Yeah, this is more spoiler than derailing. I mean, the Tinnicus is like... In the lore is like a continent-wide bestseller that...
And Tin gets all the royalties?
Yeah, Tin gets all the royalties because Nicus isn't there to get any of the royalties. I feel like, wouldn't Tin like keep some of it aside to give to Nicus if he ever comes back?
Yeah. It's in the treasury, but like if there's like...
an emergency, yeah.
Issue,
yeah, I imagine if they,
I don't think there's been any reason for her to do that.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, I feel like Nicus would probably understand that.
Yeah.
Like, if, I don't know, like, Wintergrove were to be destroyed again, I'm pretty sure he'd approve if Tin spent some of his royalty money on repairing it and helping the changeling people.
Yeah. Keep track of how much she spent and then pay it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
I feel like Nicus would probably just be like, yeah, don't worry about it. I mean, you're helping people. I probably would have done the same thing. Although, no, it's Nicus, so I'd be like, yeah, don't mind, don't worry about it. I would have done the same thing. Because that's his voice.
Would she do that, though?
What?
Would she pay him back? I know, now that I'm thinking about it, she's not good anymore.
I feel like she'd pretend. If she wouldn't pay him back, she'd pretend that she was going to, because she knows that he'd probably be just like, yeah, I would have done the same thing anyway, don't worry about it.
Then again, Nicus is someone that she cares about, and she takes care of the people she cares about.
That is true.
So she might pay. I'll think about it. I'll see.
I feel like Nicus probably wouldn't care either way. Like, he'd probably appreciate being paid back, but he wouldn't mind some of his gold being spent on helping people.
I just mean Tin's having a moral
A moral,
breakdown.
yeah, a moral crisis.
Because it's
But
like her more criminal side versus her friendly ruler side.
yeah. I mean, well, I mean, maybe Tin will have to dip into that fund a little bit based on what happened last session with the ship crashing in Winter Grove.
Yeah, that's probably, yeah.
Yeah. And with the next session,
she has stolen from friends of the past. I don't know why I'm debating this. She's stolen from Xylon so many times.
well, maybe she just likes Nicus more.
She does do that mostly to tease Xylon.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, she does like to tease Xylon.
Yeah.
That was kind of one of the more funnier things from last campaign.
Well, yeah, she's also mostly encourages Azul to prank him a bunch.
Yeah. Yeah. Azul would prank Xylon a lot, and Tin just kind of enabled that. And she'd egg Azul on.
Yeah, she'd be like, hey, your plan's good, but have you considered this?
Yeah. She'd help him prank Xylon better.
Yeah.
Although she wouldn't get involved to the point where she could really be blamed for anything that happened. I don't think.
I feign innocence.
Yeah. She participated enough to make Azul do better at his job, but not enough to implicate herself.
Yeah. I don't think she'd really care, though, Xylon knew.
Yeah, I don't think she would either. I think maybe it's just more of a natural thing for her to try to make sure that she doesn't implicate herself in anything.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, she does kind of have a bit of a criminal background.
A bit.
I was trying to be, nice. I mean, she is a criminal. But...
criminal. She's the criminal.
Yeah, she is the criminal. She's head of the organization now. Secretly.
Well, I was trying not to go there, but...
Oh. Spoilers. Tin's head of the organization. Hasn't that been mentioned already, though?
I'm not sure if that's been mentioned in campaign or lore. I know we're talking about where the characters are.
Oh, okay, yeah. That might have been mentioned, off camera then. But
yeah.
Either way, the less than 20 people who actually watch this will have a little bit of knowledge that a lot of the people who just watch the main campaign won't.
Yeah.
You're special. You know more. You know the secrets of the world. Anyway,
really?
anyway, heading back to this chapter, as the queen's being freed, the forces in the lave are closing on the capital. Tyrion is starting to fulfill his plans to harness the power of the god, harness the power of Lilith. Sorry, could not English today. But as he's doing that, the gods are like, Nalave is not going to be able to stop him in time. We can't let him do this. So the gods started to form their own plans. The gods, they were angry. I mean, here's this stupid little mortal who's trying to harness the power of a god in the mortal plane. And he now knew of a way of how to kill gods to expand his own power. Because, I mean, he did kind of, in a way, kill Wolf, sort of, with the formation of the shards. And basically, the gods are like, we can't let this snowball out of control. If he gets the power of this one god, he's going to start coming after us, and he's going to start killing us. So we need to band together now, all of us, every single god in existence, even though some of us absolutely hate each other, we're going to come together, put all of our energy into stopping him. Because if we don't stop him, he's going to kill all of us, presumably. At least that's what the gods thought. And that is what Tyrion was planning on doing, so they're kind of justified in that. So they basically harnessed all their energy together that they could manage, and they basically formed all this energy into this massive bomb. And they sent this bomb hurtling toward the imperial capital, which at that time had nearly 100 million inhabitants within its walls. And the surrounding area. I mean, it's basically the continent's capital. So, like, all the bureaucracy, all the higher-ups, nobles, everyone was there. And in just a few moments, all of them, except Tyrion, would be dead. The Nalavian forces who were trying to attack the capital were caught in the blast radius, but through quick thinking and the use of all their magic users, they were able to create a shield, this magical shield around them that was able to save them from the blast. But unfortunately, it did end up killing all the mages who put their power into putting the shield up. As the magic, they're just basically overloaded with magic from the explosion. And after the bomb hit, all life for hundreds of miles around the imperial capital was dead. The whole area was a wasteland and now had this evil, magical presence looming over it, as it was just a land of death. Like, all life was dead. The bomb itself didn't really do much physical damage. Like, the imperial capital, despite being hit by a bomb that killed everything for hundreds of miles around, it was still there. It was still, I mean, it was kind of ruined a bit, but it was still there. I mean, the bomb was more focused on, it was just a magic bomb, so it was meant to kill all life in the area, and it did. It wasn't meant to level everything, it was meant to kill, and so it killed. And with that, the war was finally over, and with this war and the Shadow Wars combined, over 1 billion people, 1/4 of the continent's total population, would be killed. And peace really should have resulted from this. I mean, 1 in 4 people dying. That's like if 2 people in our group just fell over dead. Ish. Yeah. Just total silence in this video. But yeah, they suffered a lot of losses. Billion people is a lot of people to die. I mean, in real life, we haven't had a war that's caused that much death. I mean, the most destructive war in our history, World War II, only killed 60 to 70 million people. This is over 10 times that. This is massive war. And, I mean, a lot of the deaths were from the gods basically nuking the capital, Bahamut using his god powers to lay waste to the Imperial legions. A lot more was from the Empire burning down cities and massacring entire populations to try to hold on to what little they had. Didn't work. The only thing it really achieved was killing a lot of people. And caused whatever people were left to go to the rebels. Didn't matter if they were loyal to the Empire before. I mean, if all your friends and family are murdered by the Empire, I mean, you're not going to go serve the Empire. Unless your goal is to serve them so you can get high enough up so you can kill someone important. But, point is, the Empire turned a lot of people against them, murdered a lot of people. That's why 1 billion people ended up dying. And discussion time. Any questions, comments, concerns, Madeline?
Billion people dead. Stupid king.
Yeah, stupid king got 1 billion of his people killed. Although some of that is from the Shadow Wars, so it's not all of his fault. And a good portion of it was due to intervention from the gods. Although at least half of it, at least half, so like half 1 billion people are his fault, but I mean, that doesn't make him any better.
Yeah.
He's a terrible guy. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Where did the evil magical presence come?
Well, I mean, it was from all the gods, and
yeah, why was it evil?
it was just because I mean, it was meant to kill all life in the area, and just the massacre of so many people in and of itself is such an evil act. I feel like the magical kind of like backlash from this happening would kind of exude this evil presence. That's just me. So I feel like there's a lot of like energy from good gods in this, but even then they're like remorseful that they have to do this, and they recognize that what they're doing is evil. So they are kind of giving in a bit to their more like evil side to go through with this. So I feel like there's more evil energy being put into this than there is good. There's probably only a few gods who can really justify wiping out over 100 million people. So I mean it's genocide basically. They are committing genocide against the people of the capital. So it's evil. I feel like it's the sheer evil of killing that many people is why there's an evil magical presence in that area. I feel like death on that scale kind of justifies that. I mean, you and other people may disagree with me, but I feel it's fair.
I mean, that's fair. I think the Christians who know about the story about Noah and the boat might have a different opinion.
Yeah.
Considering that's a story about a god wiping out all of humanity, except for like one family.
Yeah, I think in that story, it was implied that everyone but that family was evil. So you can make the argument that's a bit more justified.
I don't know. I think there are a lot of babies and children that weren't evil.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a terrible thing that happened. But, I mean, it's a bit more justified if you believe that everyone was sinners and evil, like it's kind of portrayed to be. Whereas, in the situation in our campaign, it's not like that. Like, just because they're in the capital doesn't mean they're evil. It's like a lot of the people inside the capital at this point are probably just refugees trying to flee like both sides of this conflict, like going through and burning farms and like tearing down villages. Whereas like
I just meant you said that the killing of all this life was the evil thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Don't you think that killing that many people in and of itself is evil, though?
Yeah, I agree. I was just
Yeah,
saying, like, that reminds me of another story from
yeah,
another religion about another god killing a bunch of people.
yeah. Well, let's not get too much into religion. We don't want to offend people.
I know, I was just saying that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments?
I feel like I said most of my comments during the derailing.
Okay. So let's move on to the next chapter, which is the Shattered Kingdoms. So we're almost to the Troll Squad. Almost.
Woo.
So, as it was kind of implied at the end of the last chapter, peace was not really to be the result of this. And basically, as soon as the Empire fell, as soon as everyone went back about their business trying to rebuild, each kingdom that formed after this started to get into little petty disputes with each other. And there was a lot of border skirmishes between kingdoms to try and change the border in their favor, or just to get revenge on whatever slight that they feel said kingdom did to them. It was a mess. And really, if peace on the continent existed anywhere, it was in the Dragonborn kingdom of Nalave, which, I mean, despite being uh, devastated in the war against the Empire, they had the most secure borders, and they had an alliance with the only like real major kingdom by them, which is the Dwarven kingdom, and they kind of had a little like defensive alliance. So no one really wanted to mess with Nolave. There was no one around them that could really oppose them. I mean, Nolave probably could have like conquered the south if it felt like it wanted to, but that's not what Nolave is about. They're kind of the good guys of this story, so they're just more of protecting their own people and anyone who comes to them for help. I mean, that and if anyone wanted to like take them out, they'd have to try and arrange an alliance of some of the neighboring kingdoms, and that would never happen ever. When everyone's like murdering each other, or just like not necessarily murdering, maybe just like shooting arrows at, occasionally killing someone over border disputes and other like petty feuds. And well, Nolave enjoyed peace for a while. It wasn't going to last there either. And Nolave would eventually fall victim to an incursion of Drow, who would murder almost all of the royal family and annex the capital city of Nolave, and most of the kingdom. They put a puppet government in charge of Nolave, and they began enslaving bits and bits of the population. So anyone who tried to oppose them, anyone who rebelled, anyone they didn't like, they put them in chains, sent them to work. And why they did this is basically because when the last war ended, those 10 shards, they didn't go away. Nolave ended up with one of those shards, and it was hidden in the Vault of Nolave. It was nice and secure, like most of the other shards were, to a certain extent, at least. And the Drought wanted it. I mean, one of their gods is like no longer there, and here's the Dragonborn just like outright holding a fragment of their god hostage. It wasn't going to sit well with them, so the Drow were basically playing this as soon as the war ended. And it went off more or less without a hitch. Devastated Nolave. And really, there would only be like one member of the royal family who would survive. which all of you will hear about to some extent later as we talk about Troll Squad, because the last surviving member of the royal family, named Ignis, would be a member of that illustrious group of heroes. And in the north, the situation wasn't much better. I mean, in the south, the one stable kingdom, the Lave, falls to the Drow. And in the north, you have the two greatest northern powers, Brule and Tamare, locked in endless war. They had considerably strong militaries. They both had a military history back in the history of the Empire, and some of their leaders theorized that if their power could be combined, they might be able to reform an empire of some sort and unify the continent. But that was never going to happen because they really could not get along, because they both had opposing views. Whereas Barul was more or less loyal to the Empire up until the point that Baum destroyed the capital and there was no one really left to be loyal to. Tamare basically defected as soon as the legions withdrew from the Lave. And Tamare, Barul, they had a lot of bad blood between each other. Brule killed a lot of people in Tamare during the war, and Tamare basically led the charge into Barul at the end of the war. A lot of bad blood. Lots of people died on both sides, and really no one was willing to let that go. No one was willing to let it go, so they were in conflict with each other basically until the point of the last campaign. And of course, eventually they'd get over this, because if you've watched any of the campaign that we're making into a podcast now, Barul and Tamare are unified into the greater Barulian Empire. So eventually they work out their differences, but that's not going to happen for a long time now. Not for a long time. Anyway, now that we've talked about how there wasn't peace and everyone was trying to kill each other, it is time for discussion time. Again. Do you have any questions, Madeline? Comments, etc.?
The Dwarven Kingdom's fine. Tamar and Barul are doing their battling.
Yep.
Nalave's fallen. Confederacy is basically just a criminal organization.
Yeah, the Confederacy is a criminal organization because they kind of had to do that to get back on their feet after having most of their people be murdered in the war.
I mean, and their ruler disappeared.
Yeah.
Don't know what happened to her after the...
Yeah. Maybe that can be like a mini quest, discovering what happens to Tin's ancestor.
Yeah, because she obviously didn't go back to the throne.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Confederacy, they kind of became their criminal self during this period. They didn't really have much left to really contribute to the rest of the continent at this point.
What are you talking about? They had wine.
Yeah, they had wine, but most of their vineyards were burned down and the vintners slaughtered. So it's like, we need to do something. Most of the survivors ended up going to different kingdoms, try and start a life there. They still felt like people of the Confederacy in their heart. So this eventually led to the formation of the criminal underground, led by the Confederacy, that exists basically the modern day of the world. And it kind of starts from these refugees who fled the devastation of the war from the Confederacy. So, I mean, they're still loyal to their country. They may, in the eyes of the kingdoms they live, be loyal citizens, but they will always be people of the Confederacy first, people of whatever kingdom they live in second. And the Confederacy is like, hey, can you spy on people? Maybe like smuggle some stuff for us? Yes? Yeah, that's good. That's good. Thank you. Here's some gold. And it just kind of grew from there. As more and more people became involved in this criminal empire run by the Confederacy. Any other? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's fine. That's fine. And I guess the other countries are just chilling.
More or less. I mean, occasionally they'll like bash each other's heads in over little disputes, but it's not like any kingdom is like wiped off the face of the map or anything like that. It's more like Kingdom A wants part of Kingdom B, so Kingdom A gets an army, takes that land, and then there's a fight, and whoever wins gets said land. It's not like major wars, it's more of like minor border skirmishes.
Yeah.
And like normal skirmishes just because some of them hate each other. And that's so they're not like chilling, but it's not like they're like on the warpath trying to reunify the continent or anything.
Yeah, I just meant that they weren't doing anything big.
Yeah, they're not doing anything big. Like the big thing for them is their occasional like border skirmishes. Besides that, they're just kind of left to their own devices. Like maybe trying to reestablish a little bit of trade as the fall of the empire kind of destroyed like trade throughout the continent because there's no longer like a unified system. Everyone's charging tariffs on everything.
Yeah.
If you want to travel from one end of the continent to the other, there's now like probably like a dozen kingdoms you have to travel through, and all the trouble that entails. So yeah, it was basically minor border skirmishes and facing the like growing pains of new kingdoms who basically rose from the ashes of a former empire. So they had a few like infrastructure. They had some infrastructure, but most of like what they're used to and what they'd like is gone from the war. So they're trying to rebuild. So the major thing happens this time is rebuilding and the occasional wars. Except for in the north. Brule and Tamara are just like more or less in a permanent war that doesn't really end until like maybe like a decade or so before the first campaign. Because at that point both sides have just killed so many people that they're like, we can't do this anymore. Let's have a breather.
No.
I was just gonna ask, are you ready to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready.
It's chapter 9, Troll Squad. I thought you were gonna.
That's me.
Oh, what?
I said, woo, that's me.
I thought you were gonna chant Troll Squad or something like that.
You don't chant Troll Squad, you just go Troll Squad.
Yeah, Troll Squad!
Troll Squad.
It's mostly the drunks that do that.
Yeah, drunks chant.
Yeah, at least in the beginning, that was most of the people who started using that name were the drunks. After you guys became more famous, everyone started using that. But anyway, so basically, somewhere between like 100 and 200 years later, it became clear to a group of heroes that would become known as Troll Squad that Tyrion was still alive, despite having a massive nuke dropped on his head, and Tyrion was actively hunting for the stones / fragments / shards of Loth. And they decided that they needed to find them before he did. And basically, after a series of adventures that will merit its own separate podcast because it was well over 100-hour campaign, so it'll probably be another 2 to 3 hour video at least that may have more than one part, like this one. So we will explain the adventures in another podcast. The Troll Squad found the stones, and they would go on to confront Tyrion with this kind of unified army gathered from all the kingdoms of the continent who have banded together to basically bring down Tyrion once and for all. And it was really just the Troll Squad and a few others who would go into the heart of the last Imperial stronghold and would finally slay Tyrion. And in this combat and earlier, all but 2 of the stones would be destroyed. Well, they'd either be destroyed or they'd be purified, which made a quote-unquote good version of Lilith, who's more or less just a friendly, happy god now. So there's still part of evil Lilith that's in the 2 remaining fragments, and then there's however many fragments were purified, and now that's released in the world in the form of a good Lilith. That's had her people help Nolave rebuild and try to make amends between the Dragonborn and the Drow. Try and rebuild some burned down bridges and all that. And basically, all of Troll Squad, after this saving the world and becoming super important, would kind of go off on their own and become important to the world in their own right. And Tin, who was played by Madeline here, Tin would become immortal and become Queen of the Confederacy, which is one of the kingdoms in the Shattered Kingdoms. Xander, who was the son of the god Traveler, he would go on to replace the Traveler as a god after Tyrion murdered the Traveler in the final fight. Xylon gained immortality and became the new emperor of this kind of newly formed empire that just controlled part of the continent. It wasn't a continent-spanning empire anymore. It was more or less just some of the lesser kingdoms and the Imperials who defected from Tyrion. And Azul, our half-orc, who is actually a dwarf, started a goblin cult, and through that, well, he started a goblin cult accidentally, and through this, he ascended to godhood, and he is now the unique god to our world known as the Gold Giver, which all started because he decided to give some goblins some gold, and it rapidly blew out of proportion and got out of hand very quickly. So the thing was, he paid them, and I think maybe I had him roll to see how well they took to him paying them to do whatever it was he was doing for them. And I think he rolled a nat 20, so they basically started worshiping him as a god. Or maybe I was just hey, you're paying them a lot. They're going to worship you now. I generally can't remember. It's been about a year. And the last member of Troll Squad, last but not least, Ignis.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, sorry, what?
You spelled his name wrong.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, it's an I, not a U.
Oh.
It's okay, I fixed it.
Oh, okay. Well, hold on. Let me get out of present. Ignis, the last member of the Nolave royal family. He was offered immortality, but he refused, and he instead preferred to serve his own people and then his god. And when he died, and he basically ended up becoming a dragon that serves Bahamut. Is there any like little basic things you want to say about Tin before we move on to the next slide? Since you're here.
So we already mentioned this, but she is also leader of the largest criminal organization in the world, on the continent,
Yep.
as well as Xylon made her auxiliary commander to the Imperial military.
Yes.
So she's got a lot of influence.
Yeah, she has a lot of influence, although she tries to hide her involvement with the criminal organization. Because
Yeah,
isn't technically her husband the like the isn't he the that most people know as the ruler of the organization instead of Tin? Try and like hide her
I say
involvement.
most people. I wouldn't say most people know. I think it's more the higher ups in the organization would know his identity, because that's kind of dangerous if everyone knows you're a criminal.
Yeah,
That's just begging the police to arrest you.
yeah. Well, it's
Yeah,
like
usually
anyone
those things only
like
higher ups know.
yeah, like a lot of the higher ups and people who are like looking into the organization would see Tin's husband Kaz as the ruler. Only like Tin, Kaz, and maybe like a few very loyal lieutenants and the Troll Squad know that Tin is leader of the organization, assuming Troll Squad knows.
I did tell them in the, or mention it in the epilogue thing
Oh,
we
okay,
did.
yeah, so Troll Squad knows then.
They might not have known at first,
Yeah, they might not know it
because
at
then Tin
first,
might
but
have.
like before they died, for those of them who are dead.
Oh, well, they know.
Well,
They knew
anyway, I
2 years
think
later.
Xylon's really the only one who's. I think he is like just given his immortality up, like to the point where he's not quite dead yet.
He's very old
Yeah,
and
he's
fragile.
very old and fragile at the point of the campaign now. So I guess none of Troll Squad is technically dead, but they all knew
Did die, but he came back.
eventually. Yeah.
And then Azul died, but he came back.
Hmm. And I guess
Yes,
the
I
only
think only Tin and Xander didn't die or won't die
yeah
yet. Anyway,
yeah
natural death.
oh yeah Tin and Xander are the only ones who have it. Well, Xander didn't he? I think he died, and then became a god. So I think
Yeah.
he's a
Well,
god. Yeah,
he's lived the longest. I
yeah.
think he's still alive. Is the thing,
Oh well, no, I
because
think it's been
ASMR live
established.
longer
Yeah,
than humans.
I think it was established that he had died at this point though, just because at one point when there was that little issue with the finger and one of the side quests and all the like hostels that brought about, like he helped deal with that in when it was
God
tele.
powers already. He's just not officially a god
Oh,
yet.
okay. Well,
Because I
yeah. So he's
mean, he
either
could
like
die early,
very
I guess.
powerful and very old, or he's dead and a god. Either way,
Yeah.
he's very powerful. All of Troll Squad is very powerful in their own right. I guess the only member of Troll Squad that isn't really mentioned here is Nicus, and he's more or less. He's technically a member of Troll Squad, but he's not one of the main members. He joined late and kind of left before the final battle because he was trying to chase down one of the last fragments, which led to him being lost at sea and never being seen again by any of the members of Troll Squad, at least not yet. Foreshadowing.
You don't think he's dead?
Yeah.
Or Ace 10 doesn't. I don't know if the others do.
Yeah, I mean, they all said that they were going to try and look for him somehow, although there was a massive, like almost, like massive storm that was blocking the sea, like anyone from going where he was last seen. So, and that's only like dissipated like at the start of this campaign, so I imagine maybe Tien has sent someone looking for him, maybe. Or like some of the Troll Squad has sent someone looking for him.
Yeah, she sent at least one party, but she is the war going on, and with Casimir out there, she's trying to be more cautious.
Yeah, because I mean, like, she does have to worry about Barul getting a bit more aggressive, and Casimir.
Especially after I just turned down their.
Oh yeah, after you like turn down the ridiculous demands made by their new ruler. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Tin has other issues as like the Confederacy and Barul are basically on the brink of war, which you guys will see how that all turns out in the next coming sessions, hopefully.
Can't wait to have to play 3 characters all at the same time period.
Well, I mean, Tin will definitely make an appearance.
I just meant the side quest character.
Oh yeah,
and
side quest. Yeah,
character.
your main campaign character, side quest. Yeah. I mean, at the very Tin will come into play just like a little bit. Your side quest character will come in maybe like 1 or 2 more times, I think. There's like a few more things that'll happen in the side quest. For the viewers, we don't actually film the side quest. It's more things that are happening behind the scenes with some other characters that are gonna affect the main story and more or less form these characters to kind of serve as like a boss battle for the party later on. Isn't like aren't they all like level 20 now? The side quest characters.
You made them level 20.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, there'll be like a boss battle for the party. Party will probably have some NPC help because I don't think the party's going to be level 20 by the time they face them. Probably not. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I don't know how. I never mind. I'm not going to spoil it.
Okay. Well, either way, Tim's got a lot to worry about. She probably sent someone to look for Nicus, or at least a group of people. She has more important.
Someone from the organization.
Yeah, probably someone from the organization.
Because it won't draw as much attention as the Confederacy sending someone out to look.
Yeah, she'd definitely do that. She doesn't want attention. She wants someone she can trust, etc., etc. Organization is more or less like who she like what she turns to when she needs something done of the utmost importance. So I imagine Tin.
The organization and some other another special group.
Yeah, I imagine Tin probably has like a more official, non-criminal group to like carry out tasks for her, but I imagine the organization is kind of like the most loyal and more adept at handling situations like this discreetly.
Yeah, and she doesn't want Barul to hear about the Confederacy going to go search for someone or something.
Yeah.
Because then they'll think she's distracted and might do something.
Yeah, especially with how hot-headed their new ruler is.
I hate him. I don't even know who he is. We haven't met him in the
Yeah,
campaign,
we
and I already
haven't.
hate him.
Yeah, you haven't met him in the campaign. All honesty, I haven't actually given him a name yet. But
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah,
yeah,
you just said. Yeah.
yeah, he's. Main thing is he's hot-headed, he's an asshole, and he wants war. And he
Oh,
loves
and right
power.
after
He
resort
wants
to
more of it,
more
and he wants to.
immoral methods again.
What? Sorry, I didn't.
I was just sorry. You were cutting out, so I couldn't tell if you were talking or not.
Oh, sorry. I was just
Uh,
saying, like, he likes power. He wants to hold on to power. Evil, bad guy type situation.
and I said Tin might have to resort to more immoral methods again.
Again.
Okay.
Yeah, me and you know what that refers to. I don't think the viewers
No,
do.
no,
Yeah.
no. If we did mention it, it was in the side campaign, and that wasn't.
Yeah, because if we mention, they haven't heard that mentioned.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it'll come up at some point in the main campaign. Maybe, probably not. Yeah, I
I
doubt
doubt
it.
it because it's not like they're going to be admit to it.
Yeah, it's not like Tin would admit to doing that.
Yeah. To be fair, Tin didn't do much. She was just mostly just an accessory.
Yeah, Tin was just an accessory. It was, I think it was her husband who did most of it, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
I'm pretty sure Valen did most of it.
Yeah, Valem. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Valem is a good character.
Yeah, Tin mostly just organized plans to try to make Guinevere not seem guilty of it
Yeah.
because she wasn't.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
she hired
she
you guys
knew.
to do it.
No, she tried to. I turned her down because we already got hired by someone else, and
Okay.
I didn't want it to be like, oh, she suddenly lost this amount of money right before her husband disappeared.
Yeah, that is fair. Did anyone else actually hire you to do that?
Valen did.
Oh, Valem. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, God, I love Valem.
And then I offered, I was like, hey, Valem, you want to help us hide the body?
Yeah, and then didn't Valem eat said body?
Yeah, that was my plan, yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so he was murdered. There's no
Oh, yeah,
body.
I can't confirm. Yeah, that's great. Anyway, do you have any questions on this chapter? Any comments?
I mean, I was here for most of it.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know, any, like, important things you want to bring up? Like, favorite part
um,
of, the Troll Squad's journey? Stuff like that.
Baby Xylon.
Baby Xylon that's already been brought up.
I know, it's fresh on my mind.
Yeah. I don't know, my favorite
Um,
moment was definitely the Tinnicus. I enjoyed that way too much.
yeah.
Which you should
Um,
know since I made a physical version of that to give you for your birthday.
yeah, I remember. I figured.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
I'm trying to think
it's
of what
not
else.
great, but it exists.
Yeah, yeah.
It's more of like,
Um,
here, it's the thought that counts sort of situation. Oh, sorry,
it's
I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you gonna say?
fine. I was trying to think of something about the characters to mention.
Yeah.
As I don't know everything about what they went, how they dealt with their characters after the campaign. I know
I don't know.
they
I
had
think
kids.
Azul like married a Fae.
Yeah, and they had hold on, I got it written down like 3 kids, I
Yeah,
think.
something like
One
that.
girl, 2 boys, I think.
Yeah. I think he told me that too. I don't
Yeah,
know if I
yeah.
have that saved
I I
anywhere.
have I have their names. I just gotta
Ah,
get the I have it written in my OneNote.
yeah. So he married a Fae. Xander, I think, married his girlfriend from Origin Route.
They had 2
They
kids.
had 2 kids. Uh, Ignis married what was it, like Camilla or something like that at Tabaxi?
Tabaxi, yeah.
Yeah, I think her name was Camilla.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was. He married her.
Uh,
They had a few kids. One of them was like a pure dragonborn.
oh, uh, Azul had 3 sons and a daughter.
Okay, 3 sons and a daughter.
Yes,
Xander
the
had two
daughter,
kids. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
what?
I said Xander had 2 kids.
Yeah, I'm trying to see, I have their names.
Okay.
The 3 sons are August, Orion Azulson, Dolph J. Azulson, and Tiberius Ignis Azulson.
Uh,
He named, and then the daughter is Tin Fairchild, so he named all of them after the other party members.
uh,
All of the middle names for the boys are the Orion,
okay, yeah, right.
Xylon, J Xylon, and then Ignis.
Yeah. So you
And
got
then
all the party involved in that then.
yeah. Uh, Ignis didn't give me the character name. Hold on, I
I
have
don't
the.
think he gave me.
He said he had 8 children though.
Oh,
I think one of them is a pure, not
yeah,
pure, but
one of them.
appears more dragonborn.
Yeah, one of them is a pure dragonborn. The rest are half dragonborn,
Initiation.
half tabaxi. So
Yeah.
he had a
And
lot of
Xylon had
kids.
2 kids. Huh?
I said he had a lot of kids.
Well, Tin can't say anything.
Well, how many kids did Tin have again? Wasn't it like 5?
Well, Tin had 4 with Kaz,
Yeah.
but then Kaz did his thing.
Yeah, Kaz did his thing, but are they tech? I mean, I guess Tin kind of
They're still
mothers
children.
them, but they're
Yeah,
not her
they're still.
kids
Yeah, no,
biologically.
she considers them. She raised them.
Yeah. Well, she has
It's
4 biological children. I was one off. She
6.
has like
6,
yeah,
4 with Kaz.
yeah 6 for Kaz. Yeah. Oh, 6 and then more with Kaz. Is that what you said?
I said 6 in total, 4 with
Oh,
Kaz.
6 in okay, 6 in total. 4 with Kaz. Where are the other 2
Yes.
from?
Do you not remember we talked about this?
I'm drawing a blank here.
They're unnamed.
Unnamed. Okay. Is it the
The
same?
kids are named.
Okay, yeah, the kids are named.
Dads
The
are
dad.
unnamed.
Do they have the same dad, or is there 2 separate dads?
2. One's half drow, the other's half tiefling.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. I remember them being like half and half.
Yeah.
I just
And
couldn't
then
remember.
saying Kaz can't say anything considering
Yeah, like how many?
the
Doesn't he have
12
like a
illegitimate
dozen or
kids he
so
has.
at least? I
What?
said, doesn't he have like a dozen or so at least of illegitimate children?
Yeah, I just said he had 12.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So Tin has 18 total.
18 total children.
Yes. Which is
Only,
why I said Tin can't say anything about what Ignis does in his life.
yeah. Most of those aren't her fault, though.
Well, she considers them to be her kids, is what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying. She
know.
raised them
Yeah. I mean,
more than
except
their
for,
dad did.
oh, I guess probably except for Casimir. Because,
No, she raised Casimir. Remember, you said he's just going through a rebellious
yeah.
phase.
I mean, I have an idea I'll run by you about, a little bit more about why he, doesn't like Tin so much. I'll run that by you later, probably like after this, video is done. And we're
Okay.
done recording. So it might be spoilers.
All
Maybe.
right. Okay, speaking of kids, though, we said Azul had 4, Ignis had 8, Xylon had 2.
Yeah.
They're Terra and Harold. Oh my gosh, she named his son Harold.
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 I love that.
But we should mention, did we mention that he married Guinevere?
No, I don't think we did.
Yeah. That's, she was the queen of Tamar.
Yeah. Guinevere is the queen of Tamar, who, over the course of the last campaign, married, the king of Barul unified their countries.
Prince.
Yeah. Well,
Prince
she was
Dongle.
Prince Guinevere at the top. Oh no, she was queen. Never mind.
Now I'm saying Tin would hold that over his head, how Tin's queen, but he's only a Prince
Yeah.
Dongle.
Prince Dongle. I mean, he was king for like a few days.
Yeah.
Long enough
A few
to give Guinevere a kid.
Long live the king.
Yeah, long.
And he's dead.
Long live the king. The king is dead. Long live the king.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that basically gave away what Tin did, I think.
We already mentioned before there was a body.
Yeah, there was a body. Yeah. So if it's not clear already, Tin and Kaz with
And
Valem murdered Prince Dongle, the ruler, or one of the rulers of the United Barul and Tamar.
It wasn't a murder, it was an assassination.
Okay, assassination.
He was
Yeah.
because he was wild and power hungry, and Tin ain't about that.
Yeah.
She's like, this man's dangerous, he gotta go.
Yeah, he was power hungry. I mean, in the campaign, he did sacrifice a bunch of people trying to make himself look good, and he did annex a lot of the smaller kingdoms while everyone was off fighting wars on the other side of the continent. So
Yeah, and he's just an awful jerk in general.
yeah.
He's very mean to the party.
Mm-hmm. And he did try to have himself appointed like the ruler of the continent through the the council or whatever.
Yeah, he wanted to be prime minister.
Yeah, he wanted to be like prime minister. And that's basically why he took a lot of kingdoms over, was so he could have their votes, and then they all voted against him.
Yep.
Actually, I think they all voted for him, but they were just one vote.
They all voted for Guinevere.
Yeah, they all voted for Guinevere. They voted for him when it was the voting for him was there, and then if Guinevere had voted for him, he would have won.
No, it was unanimous.
Yeah, it was unanimous for Guinevere.
Azul
Yeah,
was the only one who voted for him.
Yeah.
But Azul voted for both him and Guinevere.
Yeah, and the kingdoms that he took over voted for him and Guinevere, I think, if I remember correctly.
I'm pretty sure it was unanimous for Guinevere.
Yeah, it was unanimous for Guinevere. Well, I mean, you could vote more than once. So it was unanimous for Guinevere, and then the little kingdoms he took over voted for both. And he was angry that they did so. That basically guaranteed that it was Guinevere who became prime minister. Did we say, was that like a lifelong position or like an elected term?
It was lifelong because she's still prime minister.
Yeah, she's still prime minister. Probably not for long with how old she is.
She's on her. Yeah, she's on her deathbed. But
yeah, she's on her deathbed, which was sped along a bit by an attack from the Kingdom of the White Flower terrorists, which the party has met to some extent in the main campaign.
Yeah.
Because they did blow up a bunch of generals while you were enjoying dinner.
Dinner and a show.
Yeah, dinner and a show. I think it was dinner and a song, not a show. Because they were...
it's still a show. Okay. That just means dinner and entertainment.
Yeah, dinner and entertainment. Well, either way, it was quality service.
Until the show started attacking everyone.
Until the chefs started attacking everyone and the singers started shooting crossbow bolts at everyone. And the Warforged on the ship were hacked and started blowing up and blowing people apart. It's fun times.
Yeah.
Fun times. Anyway, we just have one chapter left, so let's try to get through this last chapter without derailing until the end.
We did forget to mention Xander had 2 kids, Naomi and Evan.
Yeah.
Just throw that in there.
Alright.
Yeah.
And that's it for that conversation for now. We can continue after we get through the last chapter. Alright, chapter 10, Aftermath. Basically, after Tyrion's defeated, all the leaders of all the kingdoms get together, and this council kind of thing form the United Continent, and it's established as an organization meant to kind of resolve the continent's problems without the need for war, trying to prevent all the little border skirmishes that plague all the kingdoms, and just generally to make everyone everywhere safer on the continent. And for the most part, this kept peace. There's a few border skirmishes here and there, and war, towards the beginning of it, war was almost declared after Prince Dongle was assassinated, but no one was really able to determine who killed Prince Dongle, so the calls for war kind of fell on deaf ears, because everyone had their own little conspiracy theory as to who killed Dongle. Some were pointing the finger at Tamar, some were pointing the finger at Guinevere, some were pointing the finger at, basically the same thing. Some were pointing their finger at the organization and the Confederacy. Some were, some were pointing their finger at Xylon and the New Empire. Some were, some were pointing fingers at the kingdoms they just conquered. There was basically everyone on the there was someone who blamed basically every part of the continent. They were like, we have so many people who don't like us. This could literally be anyone.
Sounds like a them problem.
Yeah. Well, it's more of there's so many people that didn't like Prince Dongle. I mean, Barul isn't particularly well liked either, but it was mostly everyone hated Dongle.
He was the worst.
Yeah, he was pretty bad. And well, Dongle did not live long enough to see the peace that resulted after this war. His nation would eventually come out of this the strongest, and would enjoy access to the last known person with knowledge of creating airships, which the party used an airship to get around in the last campaign. Ignore the misspelling there on my screen.
Which one?
For me, Chapter 10, Aftermath, Barul came out of the war the strongest and enjoy access to the last known person with the knowledge of creating RE ships.
I missed that.
Yeah. Alright, well,
Fixed it.
Madeline fixed that. It won't be fixed on my screen unless I exit presentation and
that would require more editing on your part.
Yeah, that would require more editing, so I'm not going to do that. Because of how Google Drive works, it would show Madeline's name, and we don't want to do that.
Full name, anyway.
Yeah, full name. But anyway, they have access to one of the descendants of Captain Mugo, who piloted the Troll Squad around all across the continent. Well, the last living descendant, and they would allow Barul to have almost monopoly on the airship production for a while, until eventually other kingdoms reverse engineered them. And towards the end of the war, they ended up discovering this massive ancient imperial factory that was underground, and they were able to repair it and prepare it somewhat to start using it for their own ends, which only furthered to improve their strength. The factory was one of many spread across the continent, although elsewhere on the continent, when the factories were found, they were found when they were activated by Tyrion, because they were basically a failsafe mechanism for the emperors to unleash these Warforged to combat hostiles, basically. So a lot of people across the continent were killed by these factories, but Barul got lucky They didn't trigger anything. They were able to repair factory and started using it to produce materials and warforged. And Brule, probably the best thing by far that happened for Brule is that their number one enemy for basically the entire time they've existed as an independent kingdom merged with them. And Barul and Tamir would form the Greater Barulian Empire, and over the years leading up to the next campaign, they would annex neighboring kingdoms until finally the only people who were left on the continent were them, Nalave, the New Empire, and the Confederacy. And I should clarify that when I say Nalave, it's basically Nalave and some of the surrounding kingdoms who have kind of formed into a confederation of sorts for mutual protection. So it's not like it's just those four. More, but more or less, those are the four that matter. And anyone who's not that four is under the influence of one of the four.
Yeah, I know the Confederacy is one other country.
Yeah, the Confederacy has like one client kingdom that it influences very heavily. So basically, the continent's more or less divided into four power blocks. And for the most part, Nalave, the New Empire, and the Confederacy get along pretty well. Barul's kind of like the odd one out, just because they're the strongest of the four in terms of power, military, and to some extent economy. But if the other three decided to go against Barul, Barul would not win. They'd lose. Barul could easily take on any one of the other three. It's just if they have to go against more than one, they're probably not going to win. And if they have to go against all three, they're definitely dead. And since they know how friendly the other three are with each other, Brule is more or less stopped to some extent its expansion, with the exception of their recent annexation of the Kingdom of the White Flower. And that was more of opportunism than expansionism, I guess. And during this period, one of the important NPCs that you get to see in the campaign kind of starts to gain prominence. And that is General Woodburn, and he would become the prominent chief of secret police for Barul. And he would send a group of heroes, adventurers, on a quest to find the fingers of the pirate Captain Dew, so they could open his treasure vault, rumored to contain billions upon billions upon billions of gold pieces, platinum pieces, weapons, and technology of unimaginable power. Because Captain Dew existed at the height of the Empire, so this is like ancient weapons, ancient technology that would probably be only a little bit advanced modern day standards. Modern day as in the current time of the campaign, not like it's not like there's like tanks, machine guns, and stuff in there. Well, not yeah. It's not like they're gonna have like jets, nukes, tanks, etc. I mean, there might be like a machine gun, but it'd be more like a primitive like Gatling gun type situation than like a modern day thing.
That's fair.
And it's just more of like other technology that would help everyone if it was refound. And basically, General Woodburn doing this is where the campaign starts. As the first session is him offering this mission to the party and some other adventurers. And we all got to see how that turned out. Or you will get to see when you watch the videos. Because, I mean, maybe some of you decided to watch the lore first to understand what you're getting into. So you'll all see in the videos. Anyway, that's it for the history of the Shattered Kingdoms, at least as it exists so far. If you want any more knowledge on the Shattered Kingdoms, I highly recommend that you watch our videos on the main campaign, which can be found at Shattered Kingdoms Campaigns Podcast. Hence
I
the
have it linked in the last slide.
what?
It's on the last slide.
Yeah, I know it's on the last slide.
Okay.
I
don't know which slide you're on.
I'm on the last slide. So you can find it there. That's the long name that we're talking about that we're probably going to shorten to just SKC Podcast in the future. And our Patreon is literally just Shattered Kingdoms Campaigns. Feel free to donate. Don't feel pressured. It would help us. I'm developing ideas for ways we can give back and stuff we can use the money for.
I suggest equipment first.
Yeah, I know. That would probably be good. Like, improving equipment would be good. Like, so far, the really only idea I was thinking of using Patreon money for, besides that, was maybe, like, doing, like, a live session, like, in person, and having...
Yes, pizza?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there are Patreon benefits. I have posted, so far, at the time of recording, I have posted the $1 tier on Patreon, which I can't remember the exact benefits. I think it was mostly like being able to ask questions. I can't remember what else there was, but there was a few good benefits. There wasn't too much because it's only $1 a month, but there will be more tiers to be added as we figure out what we want to give you. And for the most part, you'll get a lot of good stuff for donating. Please donate. Don't feel pressured at all. I'm just saying it'd be nice. Is there any other comments you'd like to add, Madeline?
I was saying we could also use the money for like commissioning artists so people can see what the characters look like.
Yeah.
Um,
We could commission you to make art for the campaign.
I appreciate it, but my art isn't exactly very good compared to other people's. And
I guess
I would
that's
rather
fair.
I would rather give the money to other people than just give it to myself.
That's fair. I can understand that reasoning because that just seems kind of yeah. I don't know the word for it, but I think you get the idea of why it's probably better to pay other people to do it. I mean, your art's great. You could probably do it. Your art's better than you give yourself credit for. It's definitely a lot better than anything I could do. Like, there's no argument there. But yeah, I guess you're right. It's probably better to pay other people to do that.
Yeah. Trying to think of what else to talk about. I think we should mostly focus on, like I said, the equipment, better mics for all of us first.
Yeah, better mics.
If we're ever able to do it in person, then something for like a setup.
Yeah. Something to like set up a in-person thing. Then maybe like the inaugural like setup thing to announce that we have a in-person setup would be like a pizza party. It's more of like, hey, we're not just using your money to buy us pizza. We use your money to buy us all this stuff to allow us to make videos in person for you guys. So we just like take this moment to thank you. Yeah, okay.
The pizza party thing would probably be better as like a giving people a chance to ask us questions, like a Q&A.
Oh, okay, yeah, like a Q&A. So maybe like when we get enough money to set up like a in-person thing, and maybe a bit more money so we can actually do the pizza thing. We can do like when we get the
Dude,
stuff.
I'll pay for the pizza. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's not a good idea to spend Patreon
Yeah,
money on
it's
food.
yeah, I guess it's not that important, but like maybe that can be like what we do when we get the equipment is like maybe like on the same day, we just have a really long like get together where we have one where it's a session with cameras or however we have it set up, and then after that's over, we take like maybe an hour or two, maybe three, to answer questions from patrons. Too much.
I think we've gone way off topic.
Yeah, we have gone way off topic. Is there anything else we want to say before I end the recording? Or we?
Well, I was trying. I wasn't exactly
Okay,
finished.
sorry.
But I was gonna say this should be our last lore session. But we're going to try to have sessions where we talk about each of the characters from the first campaign, since they're kind of important for the current campaign.
Yep.
We could technically make sessions talking about
Like the
our current characters too,
yeah.
just so we can get some more ideas about their motivations and their pasts and
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean that would be a good idea too. We could also do lore sessions in some of the kingdoms in the world. They'll probably if we do that, it'll be later because that's not as important, really.
Yeah, it's mostly just for world building.
Yeah, like if we did that, it might end up just being like Barul, Nolave, the Confederacy, and the New Empire. Because really, the other ones are not important to our campaign. Hope you guys like this video, and hope that based on all the times I've said that I'm gonna have to edit stuff, that you know that I put a bit of effort into making these for you guys. So hope you like it. Bye.